Hi everyone, this is Alexis with Financial Phoenix, and I am here today to bring you a new series that I am calling Frugal Homemaking, and I am super excited to share this with you guys. This is going to be all about how to do those little tips and tricks and things around the house for you stay-at-home parents or just anyone who enjoys and finds some joy in homemaking and, saving a little money while doing those awesome things around the house. So this is for you. But today we are going to talk about how to make homemade butter from scratch in your KitchenAid mixer. There are a couple different methods to do it, and I will include links in the description box below for the other methods, which include there's the shaker method where you can put like whipping cream in like a Ziploc bag and kind of shake it up, or like a jar. That's one option. I have not tried that, but I will link you to somebody who has. Two, there is another method for using a hand mixer. So if you have one of those like blending sticks or something like that, I think you could probably do it that way. I don't own one of those, so I did not test that out in this video. I happen to own a KitchenAid mixer. I am very blessed that way. I think my parents got it for me for Christmas 2016, so I've only had it a couple years. So anyway, but this is the easiest method, I think, because it happens to be the one I do, for making butter homemade. I think it tastes great, I think it saves you money, and I think it's fun to do, and it's just impressive to tell people that you make your own butter and not sit on the porch churning it by hand. So I'm really excited about it. When I first mentioned doing it, making my own butter to people, they were skeptical about the amount of money that it saves. So let me break it down for you a little bit here. If you use margarine, typically, I can't believe it's not butter or something, equivalent to that. If you are typically using those and you either buy them with coupons or buy them, on sale pretty cheaply and you stock up, the savings may, maybe hit or miss. I'm talking about using real butter, which I prefer on toast and in baking and in all different things. I just think it has less preservatives. It's more natural, which is always a good thing, and it's just it's tastier, and I think it works better in a lot of baking recipes too. So I just prefer real butter, and it's something that I don't have to buy myself. So I think the way in which it saves you money, actually it saves you money in a couple different ways, and here's why. One, the only ingredient you need to buy in order to make your own butter is heavy whipping cream. I try to buy it at Costco or somewhere where I can stock up on a large quantity of it and pay, because the more you buy, the cheaper it is. So I try to stock up on a big amount of it, as much as I think I'll use before it is not usable anymore. So I start with that, and there are a couple different products that you can make just using that. So that's where a big portion of the savings comes in, I think. So first, you buy the whipping cream and you start to whip it. You whip it to a certain extent. Add powdered sugar to whatever it is that you want to make a little bit sweeter, and you've got Cool Whip. You've got whipped cream, basically, if you keep it at that level, if you do Cool Whip. Do you get what I'm saying? So I like to whip a certain amount of it to put on my coffee in the morning, to put on like brownies or whatever for the kids. It'll save you that right there, because then you don't have to buy Cool Whip for anything. You don't have to buy whipped cream, whatever. You can still if you prefer the canned stuff, but I like the homemade. And two, it obviously makes you the butter, but this is the cool thing. Once you whip it up to a certain extent, the butter separates from the buttermilk, the milk fat. And that buttermilk is savable. You can save that and add that to pancakes. You can add it to buttermilk biscuits. Any recipe that you come up with that calls for buttermilk, you can use that for. So now you're talking about buying one thing, whipping cream, and being able to make whipped cream, butter, and buttermilk. So that means you're saving money if you regularly use those products. Also, I just think regular butter nowadays is so expensive. The low end generic typical store brand is something like 350 350 $4 for 4 sticks, which is crazy. If you like real butter and you use it, you know, 1 or 2 boxes of that every 2 weeks or so, that amount can really add up versus if you're buying heavy whipping cream in bulk and using that to make your own plus some other things, then the savings is going to be a lot. Especially near Christmas season or holiday season, if you're a baker, if you like to bake, if you use that as a way to give gifts, is baking. All kinds of savings when it comes to how many sticks of butter this will save you just to be able to make it. And now we are going to get into how to make this butter. Thank you for sticking with me. Let's get into it.
Shut up and sit down.
Can y'all hear my sausage cooking this morning? This is how you multitask. You shoot YouTube videos at the same time as you start working on your breakfast. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna open our whipping cream here. This is our just regular old Walmart great value heavy whipping cream, and you can use as much or as little as you want. You know, I don't really go with any specific measurements to try and make a certain amount. I just get a couple of cartons and I just go from there. So we're going to pour this into our mixer with the whisk attachment on. This is 1 carton, which is 32 ounces. So yeah, I have 3 cartons over here that I picked up. And if you use our price comparison shopping list, which you will find linked in the description box down below, you will see you know, where the cheapest place to get whipping cream. I would start with however much you want to make whipped cream. I like to make a big batch of whipped cream all at once and keep that in a little container in the fridge for a week or so, just to put on top of my coffee in the morning. So how you would do that is you would put your whipping cream in here. You would add some powdered sugar. I'm sure I'll link you to a random recipe from the internet on how to do that. It's just cream and powdered sugar basically. And you can add more or less depending on, you know, how much you like, you know, sweetness. So I like to mine on a little bit of the less sweet side. I like it more like clotted cream, so I don't add very much powdered sugar to it. We're gonna go ahead and mix up our whipping cream here. I started on low and then I move it to higher the thicker it gets, because as it's liquid like this, you don't want it to go too fast and splash out everywhere. And we're also going to put a towel over the mixer, because once it passes that butter consistency, the buttermilk that's left over will start splashing out. So we'll talk about all that, but let's go ahead and start whipping this. We're just gonna put it on like a low, maybe like right there. Just let that go for a while, and we're gonna put a towel over it too. Okay, you can see here it started to splash out a little bit. My towel wasn't doing quite a good enough job, so let's just take a look at it. Whoa, see how much it is. It's kind of gotten all over the place here. So let's just take a look. See, we're at kind of a soft peak level right now. We might have overfilled it a little bit. I don't know. It's going to first turn into a soft peak, then hard peak, which is the whipped cream version if you've got sugar in it. And then after that, it will start to separate into buttermilk and butter. So the liquid portion will separate and you'll start to see a solid form at the bottom of your bowl. So just keep working it. It'll take forever. It'll seem like it's never going to happen, and then the second that you're like, this isn't going to work, it finally separates. So
We've been at this probably about 10 to 15 minutes now. So I'm going to put the towel back on, maybe add another towel and try and, I might have overfilled it this time, but we'll see. But yeah, we are going to continue making our butter. Okay, so when you start hearing this kind of buddy extra sound coming from in here, this is when you want to take it, this is when you want to take the towel off and kind of just see. Ooh. Now look at this. See, this is perfect. This right here, see how it's starting to separate? There's liquid on top. Let me see if I can open this up for you. Look at that. That is butter, ladies and gentlemen. Now be careful, because my trusty old mixer gets warm during this, but basically this is the part where I take the whisk off and I use the paddle attachment to kind of finish solidifying it. But that's what it's gonna look like. You're gonna take, it's gonna get all chunky like butter right there, and the buttermilk is gonna separate. You can pour that off into a little container and keep that buttermilk for your pancakes and your biscuits and your whatevers. But that is the butter, and we're probably at like 25 minutes now, I would say, just letting it go. We had it on like 8 there at last. I don't ever usually take it to 10. So all right, let's get this ready to go.
It's really not a difficult process. It's actually kind of fun. My kids loved watching it happen. It really does save you some money and can just, yeah, really add to your household when you feel good about having fresh homemade butter in the fridge. David now asks me all the time, is this store-bought butter or is this your butter? So but you can add garlic, you can add cinnamon sugar, just mix it up and do different things with it. It can be a great gift if you put it on ice or something and tie it up in little plastic wrap and give it to somebody, an array of different types of butter. So there are lots of things that you can do with it. Let me know in the comments what you would do, or are you planning on trying this method out? Would you make some butter at home? And if so, what kind of fun things, what kind of fun differences would you put with it? But that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching my first frugal homemaking video. I really appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.
Shut up and sit down.